Welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio, where we expose what's broken in the healthcare system, connect you to real health solutions, and inspire you to take back control of your life. We want to help you feel empowered, informed, and free to live naturally without fear, confusion, or dependency. Download our latest book on real solutions for health at naturallyinspiredradio.com. Naturally Inspired Radio is a nationally syndicated show broadcast on over 100 radio stations, online platforms, video channels, and podcast feeds. Follow us on your favorite platform today, hit that like button, leave a comment, and engage in our special live stream chats, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com to learn more, register for our weekly giveaway, and explore past episodes. You can also connect directly with Tammy, follow her on all major social media platforms, and discover more about our featured guests and trusted radio partners. Are you looking for better health? Work with Tammy today and take the first step toward a healthier, more empowered lifestyle. Schedule your complimentary 30-minute lifestyle assessment to explore personalized guidance on nutrition, movement, toxin-free living, and natural beauty without pharma. Get started now and discover Tammy's preferred health products at naturallyinspiredstore.com or text Tammy directly 720-303-8868. Love the show and want to support the movement? Head over to naturallyinspiredradio.com and click on the support tab. There you'll find all the ways you can get involved. Join our Naturally Inspired community, become a preferred customer, attend one of our amazing live events, get your backstage pass for exclusive access, and connect to all things naturally inspired. Thank you for tuning in today. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
The information and other content provided on this radio show or in any linked materials is provided for informational purposes only, not intended and should not be construed as medical advice. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Welcome. Good morning. I hope you got your coffee. I got my coffee. It's a beautiful day here in northern Colorado. The sun is out. It's still cold, of course. I mean, winter hasn't even started yet. Let's get it right. Winter has not even started yet. Could be a long one this year. I don't know. I don't know how I'm feeling. Like mentally, I'm just like, I'm already missing a lot of things. My life cuts in half basically when the snow comes, when winter comes here on 1890 Homestead, which is just our little homestead. Because, most of the time I'm milking it outside in the morning in the summer. I'm like taking my time. I go for a little run, maybe. I feed some chickens. I let the cats out of the barn, have a cup of coffee, I mill around out there. And right now it's cold. And so there's no milling. You don't want to be milling around when it's cold like this. So, sigh, I know, but I got to get my complaining in somewhere, right? I got to get it in somewhere. Anyway, welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio. Got a great show for you today. Today's topic about culture, I think is very timely. I feel, and maybe you feel like this too, that it's like the scales are really tipping, where all of this woke stuff that we've been putting up with, it started a long time ago. It really didn't just start. I mean, it definitely accelerated once we got to COVID. I think we can all agree that, right? Everything accelerated, whether it was race divide, gender stuff, climate cult stuff, everything just went into warp speed mode. No pun intended. It just took off, it feels like. But really and I think the fear of speaking out has been, it's been a while. I don't remember exactly when I heard the term politically correct, but it's been a decade and a half at least, right? 20 years maybe? I don't know. But it's just kind of progressively gotten to the point where it's ridiculous, right? It's just, come on, it's just ridiculous, you can't say anything, or you're just being mean, and, just that's where we were at. But it feels like we've had enough. You know what I mean? It feels like the scales kind of went bunk, and now it's oh, no. We don't care. We don't care. We don't care. We don't care what color you are. We don't care, what gender you are. We don't care. We don't care. We don't care. Maybe it's the whole country's entering menopause. Because they say when you enter menopause, you just don't care anymore. You hit 50 and it's 0 F's left to give, as they say, right? I have no F's left. And I feel like that might be happening. I really do. And I think it's high time that we get back to a merit-based society. What happened here? What happened that merit kind of went out the window, and it became all about who pay to play, how much influence you have. You can kind of buy influence, buy likes, buy followers. It's all fake. We know that, right? But here's yet another thing. And I figured this out a long time ago, and you probably did too. But again, more people are tilting the scales. So this little clip I saw on X, and it's from the show TMZ, Harvey from TMZ. So listen to this.
So the Golden Globe nominations are out, and so begins the ridiculous award season. These awards are junk. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense when you look at the new category, podcasts. How is it that Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn haven't been nominated? Well, I think there's an answer to that. And the answer has to do with this, which is leaning right. And that's the way this goes. If you've ever watched the Academy Awards, when you hear somebody get up on stage and say anything to the left, they get huge applause. When it goes to the right, they get boos or silence. And it's just the way Hollywood works. And I've been around here for a long time. And that's the way it works. And don't think I'm saying this as somebody who feels snubbed on the right. That's not the case. I'm a registered Democrat. I don't mind saying it because it's public record. So it's not like I have a dog in that fight, but it's ridiculous. How do you not nominate Joe Rogan? Does that make any sense? Whether you like his views or dislike them, he is a consequential, really good podcaster. I mean, he just is. That when you listen to the breadth of what he does, the depth of what he can do, and the honesty, at the very least, how does a guy like that not get nominated? Again, it's obvious what the answer is. The answer is that he leans to the right. And that's the way all of these awards.
I don't even recognize those podcasts. I mean, maybe one of them I recognize, but I can't believe these are the biggest podcasts in the space. Love them or hate them. The biggest podcasts in the space are not nominated. Hello. Yeah. I mean, I know we're kind of all used to it now, and it's kind of like, okay, yeah, yeah, right, yeah, it's totally legit, right? Totally legit. It's all legit. It's all legit. Yeah, it's all like what people like. Of course, it's not. Right? Of course, it's not. We have rigged award shows. We have, everything is not as it seems. And man, like, how cool would it be just to get back to like a merit-based America? Where when you worked hard and you crafted something and you practiced over time and you just got better and better and better, and you were measured by your merit. You were measured by merit. I mean, I hate that this isn't available to our kids. I hate that. And one of the spaces where it's really, has been bad for a long time is music, right? I mean, I have seen some just incredible musicians in my lifetime, and nobody knows who they are, and it just seems like such an injustice, in nowadays, because you would think that social media and have to share your content, on your own page and whatnot, would allow more freedom, would balance things a little bit better, based on merit. But no, it doesn't. It doesn't, because somebody's always got to stick their hand in the pot. Right? Somebody's always got to stick their hand in the pot and change it, right? And weight the scales in one way or another. And it's just frustrating. And I was going to share another video with you, but it just had way too much cussing in it. Like it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. So I decided not to play the video for you, but you may have seen it. It's going kind of pretty viral on X anyway. And it's this working class lady. It's this working class lady who is, she's working a couple of jobs. She works at 2 a.m., and then she goes to her other job at 6 a.m. And then she gets home about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's her life. Then she sleeps for a few hours, and then she gets back up and does it all again. And she's has an interaction with some immigrants who are on, government benefits for food. I guess she's working in a grocery store of some kind. And she, checks them out, and it's like $3,000 worth of food. Over $3,000 worth of, and it's like all junk food, essentially. And this is her tax dollars. I mean, imagine, she's livid, and rightfully so. I understand. So she's working 2 jobs as an American in her country, and these visitors are coming through her checkout line, and they're spending over $3,000 in groceries. I would venture to guess, I don't mean to judge anybody, but I would venture to guess that this woman has probably never spent $3,000 on groceries in one shop. It's just such a crazy time. Like, we're rewarding terrible behavior, and we are burying people who are doing the right thing. It's like, I think we've all been saying it through this time, is like, it feels like backwards world, right? Upside down world, but everything, whatever you want to call it. It's like what's good is bad and what's bad is good. And we've created that. Like, we've allowed that society to unfold right in front of our eyes. And I think we're to the point now, like, this lady made this video and she was F this, F that. Like, she was just like livid. And get out of my country is how she ends the video. Get out of my country. And I think she's not alone. I think she is not alone in feeling this way, in feeling like enough is enough. We've got to claim our culture back. We've got to, we've had our confidence ripped away. And we can talk about why we've had our confidence ripped away. I mean, there's been an attack on men. There's been a huge attack on men. Toxic masculinity. I feel like that was a campaign launched on men so that men could be not as confident, just to be men and say, hey, nope, we're not doing that. It's very purposeful, very convenient. Welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio. We got to take a break, but we'll be right back.
Did you know that a single collagen supplement could support your heart health, help protect against EMF exposure, and reduce inflammation all at the same time? Our preferred foundational collagen not only supports radiant skin and joint mobility, but also promotes heart health, reduces inflammation, strengthens hair and nails, provides added protection against the effects of EMF exposure, and so much more. Our favorite collagen is super absorbable and easy to take. Just 1 tablespoon in the morning and another in the evening for maximum benefits. Here's what our listeners have to say.
This collagen is so easy to take, I've noticed a huge difference in my hair and nails after just a few weeks.
Since I started using Tammy's preferred collagen, my joints feel more flexible and my skin looks smoother.
Try it today at naturalinspiredradio.com/collagen. When you purchase from Naturally Inspired, you get access to our group health coaching call and so much more. Go to naturalinspiredradio.com/collagen.
Hey, if you would, go follow us on Rumble if you're not already. All you got to do is go to rumble.com, search Naturally Inspired Radio. When you find us, follow us. Oh, it's just pitiful how many followers we have. I don't know how it happens. I clearly do not know how to pay to play. But anyway, if you find our Rumble channel, just type in Naturally Inspired Radio, like our posts, follow the channel, leave a comment in the chat. That helps. It helps to get the algorithm to share it a little bit more. And don't forget to visit naturalinspiredradio.com anytime for the full list of where we are, like our social media, all of that stuff. Every little bit helps. You can visit naturalinspiredstore.com as well to connect, to booking assessments and support us with product purchases and all of that stuff. So naturalinspiredstore.com, visit there today. So this whole merit thing, I mean, toxic masculinity, I think that was one thread that really, robbed us of confidence. It's fascinating to me, when we see how people are reacting in public now. Like I saw something the other day where there was a Muslim man kind of following women around, a group of women around and filming them. And, other people were watching, but like nobody stepped in to help these ladies. And it was pretty creepy, He was kind of yelling at them, barking at them that this is a public place. I can film you. I can film you. This is a public place. This is a public place. And they were like, yeah, go away. But nobody, people were watching. That's what we've been robbed of. I guess you could say we've been robbed of our authority in our own culture. And the way that they've done that is they've attacked us. You're terrible, you're awful, you're racist, you're this, you're toxic, you're mean, you're, all these insults over and over and over again, just piled one on top of the other. It's very much like an abusive relationship. You forget your worth. You forget your authority. And your authority is you're a citizen in this country. And this is your country. This is your country. So we have to be comfortable claiming our authority again. And I think we're getting closer. I pulled this clip from Megyn Kelly. I thought this was interesting. You know, she did an interview a while back now, but this guest was talking exactly about that. So take a listen to this.
Exactly. And I feel like identity politics is so passé, but for these folks on the left and in the mainstream media, they're still on that bandwagon of 5-10 years ago. We're not doing identity politics anymore, okay? We want a merit-based society. We want a merit-based administration, merit-based country, merit-based sports teams. That's what we want, all of this identity. And of course, the same thing happens to me. People say, because of how you are, you should think a certain way, vote a certain way, you should do this. Hell no, I'm going to vote for my best interest and do what I want.
It's the only way forward. I have described it like this, like there has to be a foundation that we're all adhering to for a country to be a country. You know, I've used this example multiple times, but I'm going to use it again. It's kind of like, what if people just decided they weren't going to obey streetlights anymore? You know, they weren't going to, green no longer means go, red no longer means stop, yellow doesn't mean anything. You just like, everybody just do whatever you want, you know? Absolute chaos on the streets, right? Accidents, people may even die. And that's kind of how I've felt about all of this woke culture. It's like, okay, yeah, but like we have to acknowledge gender because otherwise we're going to like, people are going to get hurt. Right? Medically speaking, but also like, how am I supposed to guess what you are this week? You know, it's just, it's ridiculous. It's just been absolutely insane, ridiculous. It's just stupid. And I think finally, and I scratch my head because I can't believe it's actually taken this long, but I do think finally people are like, nope. I'm not having it. You know, it's just all a little too convenient. You know, you can play the race card when it fits you, you know, when it's convenient for you, and then you take it away when it's not convenient. Like, we're done. You know, same with the LGBTQ, whatever. Like, nobody even had a problem with all of that until it started getting shoved down our throats. Now we're going to, you know, step into your territory. We're going to demand you say your pronouns. We're going to demand that you pushed too far. You pushed way too far. And now people have had it. So I was looking up, just trying to find more information and do a little research on like, how did this happen? How does a society kind of lose its merit-based culture? So over the last several decades, multiple cultural, economic, and technological shifts have quietly replaced a meritocracy where skill, competency, and contribution are rewarded with a transactional influence economy, where money, sponsorships, compliance, connection shape who gets elevated. And here's a bit of a breakdown for you. This is why this has happened. I always like to try to understand why. And this made a lot of sense. Number one, corporations replaced community-based validators. So traditionally, influence was earned. It was earned through innovation, service. Oh gosh, remember customer service? Remember? It's been so long. I don't remember anymore. But yeah, we used to earn influence with customer service, with craftsmanship, so quality, and community leadership. Today, large corporations and PR firms control most platforms of validation. They control awards. They control media. They control top lists, health seals, like the American Heart Association, right? Certifications and more. Many of these can be purchased through sponsorships, grant funding, advertising deals, and industry affiliations rather than earned through ability. Listen, let me tell you. I don't want to out anybody here, okay? But I'm just saying this happens even at the local level, okay? There are whole businesses A lot of them like are magazines. You ever seen these like local magazine franchises, like Women of NoCo or whatever? Like I'm not specifically naming any. If that's the name of one, I'm not targeting anyone. I'm just making that up. Okay. But they have these like magazines that, when you think, wow, this person must be like, quite the quality business person, because, here they are featured in this grand spread in this magazine, right? Well, no, like come to find out, pay to play, right? You can buy your way onto these lists. They don't mean anything. And people do it all the time. Yeah, they do it all the time. So, best chiropractor, best doctor, best whatever. It's not what it appears. Let me just say that. Okay, so large corporations and PR firms are in control of a lot of these things. And these things are purchased through sponsorships, even grant funding, advertising deals, and industry affiliations, rather than earned through ability or even customer satisfaction. This shifts the spotlight towards those who can pay, right? Not those who can perform. And that's a problem. That's a problem. Institutions became financially dependent on sponsors. Okay, so medical associations? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So the people that make up these little associations, they're the ones funding it. So like if you have an association of like, heart surgeons, they're the ones funding the American, association for that, all the way through the medical system. And, it's just, you can't, it's total pay to play. So universities also, they become financially dependent on like pharmaceutical companies. Nonprofits become dependent on corporations, like even pharmaceutical companies, and scientific journals, even government advisory bodies are now rely heavily on sponsors. Remember how I always tell you, like the CDC has a whole arm called the CDC Foundation where it can take in private donations? And they do. And they've expanded their budget so big, some of these three-letter institutions in the past, that they can't function without their big donors. That's a problem, right? That's a problem. So lobbyist influence, of course, is part of this. When money becomes the fuel, merit takes a back seat. Institutions begin rewarding compliance with sponsors' interests instead of excellence or even truth. This is what we just lived through. And we're still living through it. But I mean, we went through it during COVID. This is how food products with unhealthy ingredients receive healthy heart labels. This is why the American Heart Association was pressing back against a bill that was going to, remove things like soda from the SNAP benefits. That's why. I mean, it doesn't get any more obvious. This has got nothing to do with your health. They don't care. They do not care. Number 3, so awards certifications and best stuff lists turned into revenue streams. So many modern awards are not purely merit-based. They are entry fee funded. Okay? Advertising funded, sponsorship dependent, pay to publish. So some examples are like top doctor lists that require payment for inclusion, industry awards that tie placement to sponsorship levels, influencer recognitions that are essentially paid features. What used to be an honor is now a business model. Social media turned influence into a commodity, essentially. We'll talk about that when we come back. You're listening to Naturally Inspired Radio. I'm Tammy Cuthbert Garcia, and I'm so glad you're here.
Did you know 80% of beef consumed in the U.S. comes from 4 major corporations, much of it being imported or processed with additives? Want real beef from a real farm? Pumpkin Creek Ranch does things the right way. Local, grass-fed, dry-aged beef with no additives, no shortcuts, just honest quality.
Pumpkin Creek Ranch beef is the real deal. I love knowing exactly where my meat comes from. No additives, no nonsense, just honest quality beef.
Best beef I've ever had. You can taste the difference. Rich, tender, and packed with real flavor. Plus, supporting a local ranch makes it even better.
From pasture to plate, they raise their cattle with care, so you can get rich, natural flavor that only real ranching can provide. Serve with premium beef you can trust. Visit pumpkincreekranchco.com or call 970-658-0176.
I want to tell you, this gift giving season, give the gift of wellness. Trust me, people want it. I talk to people every single day and they're like, I wish I could get that. I wish I could get that. I'm going to put that on my wish list. I'm going to get that next month. Like all these wellness products, people want them. They need them and they want them. And so what better way to, give a thoughtful gift than to give the gift of wellness? If you go to naturallyinspiredstore.com today, at the top there, we have a whole bunch of buy one, get one free products. So it is in our December deals there on the website, and you can go through the buy one, get one deals. There's over 30 different products there where you can buy one, get one. I want to highlight one, just one, because my favorite collagen, right? The low molecular weight collagen is buy one, get one right now. It has different flavors. Normally I'm on the pure one, but the one that is buy one, get one right now is immune collagen. So it's the same hyaluronic acid, chicken sternate complex that goes into the low molecular weight, highly absorbable collagen. It just has elderberry in it for added immune support. But this is an incredible deal, and it doesn't happen very often. So right now you can buy one, get one while supplies last. So that's just one. All the products are fantastic. Of course, I use them all. And this is a great deal. So stocking stuffers, I imagine, putting a basket together with a bunch of wellness products for somebody who has started on a wellness journey. I mean, it's just a very thoughtful gift. If you need any help, text me at 720-303-8868. Otherwise, you can find those deals at naturallyinspiredstore.com. So yeah, let's continue, because this is how this happened. This is how we got away from a merit-based society. We allowed this stuff to kind of take over, right? This pay-to-play model. And it's not just, things start at the top, right? When your institutions are, compromised because they're taking money on the side, then it's only a matter of time before, people figure out the business model. It's kind of the same thing that's going on with AI right now, right? All these people are, going after the government and putting in bids on government grants to develop any kind of sort of anything to do with AI because they're getting it. They're getting the grants. There's money there for it. And so, of course, they're going to apply for those monies and get funded in that way. Instead of funding privately their own startup, it's now becoming the business model to get money from the government to develop artificial intelligence and technology. So, that's what's happened is entrepreneurs even, they go for government money. Well, if you're going to take government money, you're going to play by government rules. And I don't know what more it's going to take for people to understand. It's like, you don't want the government involved in your life, because when they're involved in your life, they get to dictate what you do, whether it's school, medicine, they will dictate what you do. So that's what's happened. And we gotta pull up and pull out of this, because otherwise we're going to end up enslaved. That's not being dramatic. I mean, we've seen it. We've seen it. Social media turned influence into a commodity. Platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube reward virality. Doesn't matter what the quality is. Good Lord. Do we know that's true, right? Like some of the stuff you see on YouTube, on TikTok or whatever, it makes Jackass look, mild. Remember the Jackass of the old days when those guys were going absolutely nuts, right? Some of the stuff we see now, that pales in comparison to what is getting virality now. I mean, gosh, I don't even want to say, but I'm thinking of a specific, OnlyFans type of gal, she's viral. That gets rewarded monetarily. So sponsorship deals, paid collaborations, this has normalized buying your exposure instead of earning credibility. Influencers with money or corporate backing outcompete experts with wisdom, but smaller budgets. True skill is overshadowed by algorithm favoring those who pay for reach. Also, there's been a decline in apprenticeship, mastery, and long-term skill building. So merit's built on time, discipline, repetition, refinement. But our culture has shifted towards instant credentials, purchased expert status, quick fame, manufactured authority. Certifications that once took years can now be bought online in a weekend. And this erodes trust and creates a society where impression is over competence. This is frustrating, let me tell you, because, you can, first of all, the whole thing with certifications is just a way for, again, the government to infiltrate your life. And yet society is like, well, they don't have a certification. Oh, do they have a degree in that? So society's supporting the corruption. But let me tell you, a lot of these programs are just rackets. Like, come and get certified with us. Okay. $1,200. And then, your certification expires in 12 months. And then you've got to renew your certification. And guess what? It's another $1,200. And it just keeps on going. Like you're never done. And it just feels like a racket. And I experienced that actually with a lot of the NLP training that I do, because I love neuro-linguistic programming. I love learning about vocabulary, words, all that stuff. Really, I know that that's what motivates us, and that's what, creates people to take action and stuff. So it's really important that we learn how to use words and why they're being used. Why certain words are being used, how they're being used against us. But a lot of these, NLP certifications or whatever, you got to buy into the club, get that specific certification, and then you got to pay over and over and over again. And I'm just like, why do I need to do this? So I can say I'm certified in NLP? How about I just say I'm not certified in NLP, but I study it constantly? How about I just say that? But the marketplace says, well, they're not certified. You see how silly this is? It's really silly, right? Because we have all this information at the tips of our fingers now, and if you're passionate about something, you're going to know a lot more about it than anybody else. No degree makes you want to pursue education. That's all. Learning is self-learning. You got to be inspired to learn about things. Not, begrudgingly, I'm going to just get this certification. And then, a lot of people get the certification, they never crack a book again. They're just doing it to get the job or get the money or whatever. You want to find somebody who's passionate about what they do in everything. Do you care if your musician has a music degree? No. You care if you like their music. Merit-based, right? But it's going to take us to kind of break out of this thinking, because we've been conditioned for quite some time. Oh, what kind of degree do they have? Well, you know what? The research says now that somebody with a college degree doesn't earn a dime more than somebody with just a high school graduation. There ain't no difference anymore, because we've watered down the degree so much it don't mean anything. Oh, you got to get a master's degree. Oh, yeah? That doesn't mean anything. Oh, you got to get a PhD. I got opinions on that too, because like, you know, a lot of people have PhDs in basket weaving. Like what are we doing here? Right? Passion. You got to have passion and pursue knowledge and want to be curious about it and develop in your knowledge in it. That's what I'm interested in learning from. I really care less at this point if you have a certificate, because I know you can pretty much buy them, and people do. So because reclaiming a merit-based culture requires critical thinking, independent evaluation, supporting local innovators, rewarding authentic skill, rejecting manufactured authority, we got to remind people that influence should be earned, not bought, and that we must start honoring people's actual results. Make results great again. Make results great again. Please make results great again. Also, integrity. You know, it says something about somebody who's just willing to put their head down and kind of do the work over and over again because they love what they do and they're interested in developing it. That should be rewarded with our patronage, right? Let's go there. Let's go to that restaurant because they are actually, you know, serving and customer service. We've just gotten so used, like we don't go out to eat very much anymore, especially because we have found over the years, like, well, I'm paying for this. I feel like a lot of times when I'm in a restaurant or like the person who's serving me doesn't even want to be there. And it feels like I'm a burden. Hey, can I bother you for a little bit more water? Can I, you almost feel guilty. Have you been in that situation? I mean, it's just such a strange way that our culture has shifted in this way. But I think we can bring it back, and we bring it back with our actions, right? We go to the restaurant that is doing it because it's their craft and they have integrity in what they're doing and it means something to them. You know, we start really looking for those things and we reward them with our patronage. We reward them by listening, by following, by inquiring, by connecting, right? Not all this weird surface stuff where, likes. They don't even know any of those people. Like, I'd rather have 10 likes from people I know than, 300,000 likes that were generated by a bot. Just let's get real, people. Let's get back to merit. Stay tuned. Your naturally inspired moment is up next, and you're not going to want to miss it.
Did you know that nearly 70% of Americans struggle with their health every single day? That's why we are reaching out to health professionals and to anyone who simply has a heart for helping people. Right now, there's an opportunity to make a real difference in people's lives while building a flexible income stream for yourself. Whether you're already working in health, wellness, or just passionate about seeing people thrive, we want to connect with you and introduce you to our system. Together, we can provide real solutions that empower people to take control of their health and create lasting impact. If you've been looking for a way to combine purpose with income, this is it. Visit simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. That's simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. We look forward to working with you.
Welcome back. Hey, did you know you can work with me? You can become part of the Naturally Inspired community. So many people are doing it. All you got to do is head over to the naturallyinspiredstore.com. You can sign up for a free 30-minute assessment. We'll sit down, we'll have a little chat, gather some data, find out what's going on and why you want better results with your health plan. And with your purchase of just even $50, that gets you into the Naturally Inspired community. That's where you get access, priority access to my health text line. You get our Tuesday night weekly wellness workshops that we do live every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. You get 15% off of all of our partnered line products, which are fantastic for life, actually. So you get 15% off the retail price for life. And all those products have a money back guarantee for life. This company's been around since 1956. They don't shy away from a guarantee. As one of the reasons why I partnered with them, because I love that you return anything, they'll take it. Empty bottle, money back guarantee. You just can't beat it. So go to naturallyinspiredstore.com today, book your assessment with me, and get on the road to optimum health. It's time. It's time. All right, for today's Naturally Inspired moment, I want to talk about this because this really resonated with you. A lot of texts about this. I think it's been a theme. Sometimes, I don't even realize I'm kind of repeating my messaging because it's just like I kind of just present what stands out to me, what I think people would benefit from, how I think it could help people. And I guess I've kind of made this a theme. So my words of encouragement in the morning, I've been talking about this. I think I mentioned it on our Tuesday night workshop as well this week. And I believe I've talked about it on the show this week, if not this week, last week. So what I'm talking about is using the mind-body visualization to heal. Okay. So, we've got this wrong with our body. We've got that wrong with our body. But what I've learned is that most people do not have like a visual connection to what their body looks like internally. They just, maybe they have this cartoon image of a heart, right? There's like a red cartoon's heart. Oh, that's my heart. Your heart don't look like that. Right? It doesn't look like that. And fewer of us even know what our lungs look like, or maybe what our joints look like, or what our back spine looks like. Like, we don't really have a authentic visual of what we look like on the inside. And I think it's very important that we do have a visual, because after all, we're trying to heal. We're trying to stay healthy. So, one of the techniques that I use, when I kind of sit in meditation or prayer, sometimes I do it when I'm falling asleep. If I can't fall asleep real early or right on time, I'll use this as a technique to kind of relax. And I just kind of close my eyes, go through my body and imagine like all my cells moving and vibrating, healthy, inside being nice and pink, not inflamed, thinking about each organ and, just intentionally setting my intention to health around it. And I can do that because I have a pretty strong visual of what things look like inside my body. And so I think it's important that we all have that. This is your body. You don't even know what it looks like. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. It's right there inside you. You got no idea what it looks like. And it's very valuable. Visualization is very valuable, especially when it comes to healing. So I'm going to give you 5 strategies to do this. Number 1, give your brain a real image. So look up what your organs actually look like. You can do it on YouTube. I sent one to one of our community members today or yesterday. I think it was yesterday. And a set of lungs. What does a set of healthy lungs look like? Okay. A lot of people have a vision for it. Doesn't it look like this? But it's kind of a cartoon vision. So look at them. They are magnificent, truly, like just amazing how they work. So look them up. Your brain needs accurate data to run a healing program. And that's what you're doing. You know, when you're aiming to heal, you want to run a conditioning neural pathway, building a neural pathway, a conditioning program for health. It's kind of like using brainwashing for the good, you know? That's what you're trying to do. So your brain needs accurate data to run a healing program. When you see what your lungs or your liver or your fascia, oh my gosh, fascia. I'm going to look that up for tomorrow. Fascia is fascinating, and the way it looks is so cool. Anyway, so I should have brought that today, but I'll look it up and I'll bring it tomorrow. When you see what your lungs, liver, fascia, or even your gut lining really looks like, your mind creates a detailed blueprint and the body follows the blueprint it's shown. So pick the organ you're working on, look up real anatomy images. YouTube's great for this. Spend 1 or 2 minutes just visualizing that organ becoming plump, hydrated, clean, strong. This aligns with research on predictive coding. The brain sends healing instructions based on the image it holds. Number 2, use coherent breathing to put the body into a healing state first. So visualization doesn't work well when you're stressed. Can't heal when you're in fight or flight. You must shift into parasympathetic mode first. So the state where restoration happens. So use the breathing technique, right? Inhale 4 seconds, exhale 6 seconds, repeat for 2 minutes. This will activate your parasympathetic system, and then you can begin your visualization. This activates the vagus nerve and turns on repair pathways, making your imagery far more effective. If you're an athlete struggling with recovery from an injury, or if you've been injured, I highly recommend this practice every single day. Every single day. Number 3, visualize blood flow and oxygen flooding the area. So the mind responds strongly to dynamic imagery. When you visualize bright, oxygenated blood flowing to an organ or an injury site, the brain increases nitric oxide circulation and tissue relaxation. So here's your strategy. Picture red, nutrient-rich blood flowing into the exact area where you want healed. See stiffness melting away. See inflammation cooling and movement improving. This is supported by studies showing that mental rehearsal can change vascular response. Absolutely. Rehearse the movement. Number 4, rehearse the movement you want back, even if you can't do it yet. Okay? The brain can build neural pathways without physical movement. This is why stroke patients improve faster with mental practice, and athletes visualize training to increase performance. So imagine yourself moving pain-free, walking with fluidity, breathing deeply, twisting without pain, lifting your ribs easily. Your brain will begin building the corresponding motor pattern. So if you have to, go back a couple of years when you didn't have the pain. Relive a specific moment in your mind. Capture that feeling and bring it forward into the present moment. Number 5, speak to the organ as if it's alive and listening to you. In traditional Chinese medicine and somatic therapy, every organ holds emotional frequency and it responds to intention. New research in psychoneuroimmunology supports this. The immune system listens to thoughts. So here's your strategy. Place a hand on the area. If it's on your chest, on your knee, speak or think, I support your healing. You are strong. You are repairing. You know exactly what to do. This shifts subconscious programming and increases the body's repair chemistry. So your body builds what your mind rehearses. When you show your brain the image of healthy organs, healthy movement, and healthy function, it will begin directing your biology towards that outcome. Visualization isn't pretend, okay? It's the beginning of repair. It is your most unused organ, your brain. I know that sounds funny, and maybe a lot of people think, well, I know a lot of people that don't use their brain. And I would agree. I live in the world. I've driven on this highway, I-25. I know for a fact there's a lot of people that don't use their brain, but that's not entirely what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about it's a tool. It is a tool, and it is so incredibly powerful when it comes to your health. Like, I cannot stress this enough. It is so powerful. The allopathic model doesn't teach you how to access the power of your brain. This is a huge tool that many people never engage with on their healing journey. I'm not saying it's going to fix everything. You don't imagine yourself back to health entirely. But this is the driver. And if all you think about all day is how you don't feel good, and how you wish you could feel better, and how this hurts and that hurts, and fearful about this, and what if this happens, and what, you're gonna get more of that, and you are not giving your body a map to healing. You have to set aside a little bit of time every single day where you mentally rehearse, you visualize health, you embody it. Right? You feel it. If you have to pull memories from prior, then that's what you got to do. But bring them to the present and just remember what it's like to be in a body that feels, healthy and lots of energy and light and mobile and all the words that you would use to describe when you were feeling your best. Bring those words back and use them to build this visualization of how you want to feel. That, will ignite the neural pathways and give your brain a map so that you can start on the road back to recovery. And it's just amazing to watch people. It's a decision. You have to decide you are ready to heal. I don't know how if I can put that any better. I'll think about it. You're listening and watching Naturally Inspired Radio. We're going to go to break, but stay tuned for the second hour. Gabe Doe from Good Brew is going to be joining us today, the bottom of the hour. You're not going to want to miss that. Stay tuned.
Are you ready to stay informed and inspired 24/7? Tune in to Naturally anywhere. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com, or for the best mobile experience, download the Simple Radio app. Search for Naturally Inspired Radio. Save it to your favorites and click on the graph instantly. Catch live broadcasts, revisit past shows, dive into long-form podcast conversations, and discover rare, censored presentations by leading health experts. Plus, explore documentaries uncovering the hidden truths of occult and esoteric history. Stay connected, stay inspired. Naturally Inspired Radio is always at your fingertips. Tune in now. For health questions or comments, text Tammy directly at 720-303-8868. naturallyinspiredradio.com.
Welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio, where we expose what's broken in the healthcare system, connect you to real health solutions, and inspire you to take back control of your life. We want to help you feel empowered, informed, and free to live naturally without fear, confusion, or dependency. Download our latest book on real solutions for health at naturallyinspiredradio.com. Naturally Inspired Radio is a nationally syndicated show broadcast on over 100 radio, video channels, and podcast feeds. Follow us on your favorite platform today, hit that like button, leave a comment, and engage in our special live stream chats, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com to learn more, register for our weekly giveaway, and explore past episodes. You can also connect directly with Tammy, follow her on all major social media platforms, and discover more about our featured guests and trusted radio partners. Are you looking for better health? Work with Tammy today and take the first step toward a healthier, more empowered lifestyle. Schedule your complimentary 30-minute lifestyle assessment to explore personalized guidance on nutrition, movement, toxin-free living, and natural beauty without pharma. Get started now and discover Tammy's preferred health products at naturallyinspiredstore.com or text Tammy directly 720-303-8868. Love the show and want to support the movement? Head over to naturallyinspiredradio.com and click on the support tab. There you'll find all the ways you can get involved. Join our Naturally Inspired community, become a preferred customer, attend one of our amazing live events, get your backstage pass for exclusive access, and connect to all things naturally inspired. Thank you for tuning in today. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
The information and other content provided on this radio show or in any linked materials is provided for informational purposes only, not intended and should not be construed as medical advice. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Did you grab your second cup of coffee? I did. Oh my goodness. It is a 2-cupper morning. That is for sure. Welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio. If you're just joining us for the second hour, I'm so glad you're here. If you missed the first hour, you got to go back and listen to the thing because we're talking about merit-based society and how far we've fallen from the merit-based society. It's crazy. But I always find like if I can understand how we got here, it just, you know, it becomes clearer how we can find our way back, you know, so breaking it down and really understanding, yeah, this was kind of purposeful and I see what happened here. And so when you're faced with those situations in the real world, you can go, yeah, I'm not going to, no, you know, I'm not doing that. I know that, you know, I'm not going to fall for that. I'm not going to back down or just let it go or what have you because, you know, I'm a racist or I'm a toxic masculinity or, you know, I didn't say my pronouns or what. We're done with this. We're done. It's declared over. We're not doing it anymore. We're back to merit-based. And so we've been talking about that. But at the bottom of the hour, Gabe Doe from Good Brew is going to be joining us, and we'll be talking about gut health. We'll be talking about what's new with Good Brew and all of the things that Gabe, again, you know, we were just talking in the first hour about like certifications and all, like, it's all like, it's all pay to play now, and you can tell when someone's passionate about something. And I don't think I know anybody more passionate about gut health than Gabe Doe at Good Brew. I really don't. He's got something new to bring all the time because he's constantly immersed in it, studying it. Does he have a degree in, gut health? I don't think so, but he doesn't need one because the guy's absolutely immersed in it. He just studies and he brings different studies and research, and he's on the cutting edge of research all the time because this is what he loves to, this is what he's doing with his life. He doesn't need a piece of paper that says, hey, I don't know. I'm just done with it. Anyway, there's a lot of great news stories that I want to get to before then. So let's get going on them. This one, you guys, this one's, it's always in the eyes. You know what I'm saying? It's always in the eyes. Check this out.
RFK Jr. has got to go. Today I introduced articles of impeachment to remove him from office. RFK Jr. has turned his back on science, on public health, and on the American people. Under his watch, and life-saving research, including right here in Michigan, is being gutted. RFK Jr. is the biggest self-created threat to our health and safety. I cannot and I will not stand by while one man dismantles decades of medical progress. Enough is enough, and that is why I'm pushing to impeach RFK Jr.
Okay, so my mom said, if you don't have anything nice to say, right? I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to resist. Okay? But decades of, he's going to ruin decades of research. He's already been doing that. He's been litigating for decades against some of these corporations. He's been writing books about this. I mean, can you say bought and paid for? Because I'm pretty sure that's what's going on here, right? Like, this is a last desperate attempt. It's not going to work. If I had to pick somebody that was probably the most popular in Trump's administration, I bet it's him. Because so many people have had it with the medical system. They have no trust left in it. They know, they're being robbed, and we'll talk a little bit about insurance here in the next story. They're being robbed by their insurance. They've been let down by their providers. They didn't get results. That's number one. We didn't get results. 76% of the population here is walking around with a chronic illness. It's a problem. So your science and this and it doesn't matter. We're going back to merit now, right? You don't got any. So yeah, I just thought it was funny, really. I thought it was kind of funny. It's always in the eyes. It's like kooky eyes. Anyway, I'm not going to do it. I swear I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm going to move on. Okay. This is very interesting because me, I've been talking about insurance for a long time. When everybody else was just solely focused on pharma, I'm saying, okay, but big insurance. This is the problem because the insurance is funneling everybody into the pharmaceutical model, and you don't really have a choice out of it. And so this was some very exciting news. Take a listen to this.
AT&T is a monopoly.
Right.
Because do you think that should be done for some of these consolidated health organizations because their consolidation, as you say, has reduced competition and increased prices?
Yes, I think we have to do that. Jake, there's not one incentive in our current system driving costs down. Every incentive, because everybody's getting a cut. Let's say if you're a realtor, you'd rather get your 7% commission on $1 million house as opposed to a $100,000 house. Same dynamics occurring in healthcare. So there's no incentive. And you add to that the consolidation of these industries, these basic monopolies. And then also they realize that consumers aren't participating. We have to pay insurance, we have to pay our taxes, but we could care less because nobody knows what anything costs. The doctors don't, the nurses don't, the patients don't, just the bean counters. So it's a completely broken system. We need to bring free market competition, consumerism back, which is really what the Republicans are trying to do. We're trying to fund HSA accounts. We're trying to bring consumerism back so we have consumers worried about what a doctor visit costs, what a procedure costs. Have insurance for the high-cost surgeries, that type of thing. That's what insurance is meant to be, not first-dollar coverage. But we've shifted to this third-party payer system. It's a disaster. We need to return to, again, patients paying more for things. You do that by funding HSA accounts and having just getting rid of.
That's what happens when you take the competition out of the free market. And this is like some strange corporate organization of wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Hey, so like we'll get all the business if you're in on it, and we'll cut you this much, and then nobody has to fight for their portion of the market. Share it. We're guaranteed. We're guaranteed that you're going to get this. Pharmacy benefit managers are going to get that. Pharmaceutical companies are going to get this. They're going to get subsidies from the government. Like, it's all worked out. Nobody's got to sell anything. Nobody's got to sell anything. And you can't get a better price anywhere else. So you can't even try. Nice little racket they have worked out here, where everybody's getting paid except for us, the consumer. We're getting screwed. We're not getting the care we want. We got no choice of what kind of care we want. We're go to the doctor, pills, that nobody wants that anymore. We're onto it. And so this is very interesting. I've covered, some of these huge health care organizations. I won't name them because there's one that's really big, right? But we can't even talk about it because they put out a statement that said if anybody said anything bad about them, that they would sue us. Sounds friendly. Sounds like they really care about what their consumers think, their customers think about them. Anyway, it is so incredibly broken and so incredibly it's a racket. It's a racket. It is a monopoly. This big healthcare corporations, they own hospitals, they own pharmacy benefit managers, they own pharmacies, they even lend money. They lend money to poor physicians that they've denied their claims. Like, it goes deep. And it is very, very sinister, really, when you get down to it. So it's interesting. They're starting this conversation. What does that look like? Let's bring competition back. Fight for my business. Why do I want to come and see you, doctor? What's your reputation like? Right? I mean, in some areas, you can it's open enrollment, so you better get in there fast and you better, take what you can get. That's not free market, competition. If there's a crappy doctor, we need to know about it. And in a free market, you will know about it because people will talk about it and they won't go there. But that doesn't even allowed to happen. All these doctors are just under these hospital systems now. They work for the corporation. They can't say anything. They can't do anything. They certainly can't practice medicine. There's no art involved in it anymore. So I think this is a step in the right direction. But we'll see how it plays out because this isn't going to go over well with these corporations, I don't think. So they must be in the throes of negotiations. Let's go to the next clip because this clip actually explains a little bit more about how these organizations came to be so. Actually, let's wait. We'll go into the next segment because we are going to take a break in just a minute. But when we come back, I'll set the clip up now. When we come back, it's just an MSNBC story, actually, from a couple of years ago. And it's interesting to me because every single time we talk about health, we talk about health insurance, we talk about medicine, we talk about pharmaceuticals, we're always talking about the stock market. It's like you can't separate the two. Interesting. Stay tuned. I'll bring you that clip in 1 minute. We'll be right back.
Did you know that a single collagen supplement could support your heart health, help protect against EMF exposure, and reduce inflammation all at the same time? Our preferred foundational collagen not only supports radiant skin and joint mobility, but also promotes heart health, reduces inflammation, strengthens hair and nails, provides added protection against the effects of EMF exposure, and so much more. Our favorite collagen is super absorbable and easy to take. Just 1 tablespoon in the morning, maximum benefits. Here's what our listeners have to say.
This collagen is so easy to take, I've noticed a huge difference in my hair and nails after just a few weeks.
Since I started using Tammy's preferred collagen, my joints feel more flexible and my skin looks smoother.
Try it today at naturalinspiredradio.com/collagen. When you purchase from Naturally Inspired, you get access to our group health coaching call and so much more. Go to naturalinspiredradio.com/collagen.
Welcome back. Visit naturallyinspiredstore.com. Get your loved ones some gifts. Give the gift of wellness. For goodness sakes, my featured favorite product on there for buy one, get one right now is the Immune Collagen. So get yourself some of that. An extraordinary product, really. It really is an extraordinary product for sealing the gut, for helping with joint issues, reducing inflammation, hydrating skin, on and on and on. So head on over there today and take advantage of the buy one, get one deal at naturallyinspiredstore.com. Actually, over 30 products right now that are available for buy one, get one. And you can view that on the Naturally Inspired Store website. Okay, let's go straight to that clip from MSNBC that this is 2 years ago, and still we're with the same system. Here it is.
United Health Group has the highest price per share of any company included in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and it's the 10th heaviest weighted stock in the S&P 500. That means not only is United Health Group the biggest healthcare conglomerate in the United States based on market cap and revenue, it's even bigger than JP Morgan Chase, the nation's largest bank.
One of the interesting things about United Health is that they've done a roll-up strategy. They've been buying pieces for years of different types of companies.
Wall Street is optimistic about the company's future, with 22 of 25 stock market analysts covering United Health labeling it a buy.
If I had to pick one stock, only one stock to buy, I'd buy United.
United Health's annual revenue has increased by more than $100 billion over the past decade when adjusted for inflation.
United has had superior stock performance over everybody else for 2 reasons. One would be strategic vision, and the other strategic capital management.
The company managed to do this through a unique acquisition strategy.
United Healthcare is much more than a health insurance company.
But somewhere United Health may be growing too big, including the Department of Justice.
It's giant. It's just core health infrastructure at this point in America. It's too big to manage.
Within healthcare, I think there's really valid concerns around excessive consolidation in parts of the business and that leading to higher prices. I do think that they are becoming more and more utilitarian. And so consequently, I think they're going to have very large market shares because a number of the services that they provide, you wouldn't want redundant services through the system.
So how did United Health Group grow bigger than the nation's biggest banks? And what does that mean for consumers and the U.S.?
It means a lot of power. That's what it means. It means a lot of power. And, I see a pattern here. This week we've been talking a lot about the business of religion, right? And these these facades of mega churches, right? They're on the facade, this is just a church, but behind the screen here, it has a lot of little tentacles, a lot of auxiliaries, a lot of associations that are businesses, all under the umbrella of the nonprofit, right? And you know who's bigger than United Healthcare? LDS. Yeah. The LDS Church is worth $265 billion. It's bigger than United Healthcare. That's a church. It's crazy, right? I mean, I'm not implying anything. I'm just saying, like, wow, wow. Because with that kind of money comes a lot of power. And certainly we know that through United Healthcare, right? Because they've bought up they've bought up clinics, they've bought up hospitals, they've bought up, like I said, they're in the loan making business. Specifically the paycheck loan business. I mean, you should look at all of their affiliations. The list is long, pages of acquisitions. So, what this does is it's a monopoly. People have no choice. And we know what's going on here. Insurance is charging one premium, cash pay is something else. Like this has got to stop. They weaponize our health against us because it's the one thing we need. We need to be healthy. We want to feel good. And they know it. And so our health has been used as a weapon. It'll be used as a weapon to take away more of our freedoms if we allow it. It's super important that we protect our freedom. Let's go to the next story because I do want to get to our health topic today. So really fast, I just wanted to introduce this topic. I think tomorrow, or is it tomorrow or maybe the next day? I can't remember. But Dean Lerwick from Pumpkin Creek is going to be joining us. And so I'm going to get his take on this. But I want to introduce this topic to you because they've just certified their first regenerative organic dairy farm in the U.S. Take a listen to this.
Regenerative farming is simply farming in harmony with nature, with the way that God intended or our maker intended. It's paying attention to the biology and building nutrient density in the soil, the plants, the crops that our animals eat. For us, it's chickens and cows, and then ultimately it's the milk and the nutrient density for food for humans and making our planet a better place. In harmony with nature means that we're cleaning up the water supply on our farm. We're cleaning up the erosion that may or may not happen with both soil and water. And we're cleaning up the air. And so everybody benefits, all the wildlife, the ecosystem benefits, and ultimately we're sequestering carbon and literally doing the right thing and moving forward in harmony with nature again, making our planet a healthier place for everyone.
Okay, stay tuned because I'm not sure how I feel about this. I know. You might think, what are you talking about? This broad, she kills me because she's talking about regenerative farming all the time. Here they are, they're doing the regenerative farming thing, and she's not happy. Well, I don't actually know if I'm happy or not. You see, I don't like it when the government starts giving out certificates and, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can have regenerative farms. I'm about regenerative farms all day long, every day. Of course. But this shouldn't even really be a designation. It should just be the way we do things because it's the right way. Anyway, more on that in days to come because I can't wait to get Dean's take on this. So he'll be on the show soon. All right, let's get to our health topic. I want to talk about lung and respiratory issues today for our health topic and what we can do about it. So respiratory problems aren't always caused by things like infections, smoking, or even allergies. Modern research and ancient wisdom show hidden factors that weaken lung function. It disrupts oxygen exchange and creates chronic issues that conventional medicine often overlooks. So I wanted to bring them to your attention today. So unknown causes of lung and respiratory issues. Number one, fascia restriction. Okay, so I talk about the fascia all the time, and I talk about it in relation to collagen quite a bit because we get depleted in collagen, and our fascia gets sticky. It gets crispy, if you will. It gets constrictive, and so we got to hydrate. We've got to supplement with collagen in order for our fascia to be hydrated. So fascia restriction around the rib cage and around the diaphragm. Most people don't realize fascia affects breathing when thoracic fascia becomes tight from stress or poor posture or inflammation. It restricts your lung expansion. It restricts rib mobility, and it restricts your diaphragm from being able to descend. And this leads to shallow breathing and chronic tension. In traditional Chinese, restricted fascia equals restricted qi flow, particularly the lung meridian. So the next one, number 2, low-grade indoor toxicity. So invisible irritants we inhale every day. So unknown sources include synthetic fragrance, candles, cleaners, perfumes, air fresheners, off-gassing furniture and carpet. A lot of our furniture and our carpets are, and even like couches and stuff, they're emitting formaldehyde, and that can be a problem. Mold spores, they're too small to see. Microplastic fibers in household dust, these create inflammation in the bronchial and in the bronchial tube. The traditional Chinese medicine perspective is that toxins create phlegm and heat or dampness, and that blocks the qi to the lung. Qi is just energy, right? Number 3, blood sugar dysregulation. But nobody thinks of that when they think of lung dysfunction. It affects it because of elasticity. High glucose stiffens collagen in lungs. And it's a process called glycation, which I've explained many times, that sticky blood type of situation. This reduces lung elasticity, making breathing less efficient. This is why diabetics have higher rates of asthma, COPD, and pneumonia, even without smoking. Number 4, nutrient deficiencies that directly affect respiratory muscle strength. Most people don't connect nutrient levels with their lung power, but key deficiencies linked to respiratory issues are magnesium, because it's needed for smooth muscle and relaxation in the airways. Vitamin D, because it regulates immune response. Omega-3s, big part, reduce airway inflammation. Omega-3s are fantastic for inflammation. Vitamin C is essential for bronchial collagen integrity. Low levels equal tight airways and higher inflammation. Number 5, and this is always overlooked, emotional and psychological suppression. So lungs store grief. So if you're grieving something, this is something you gotta work through. Traditional Chinese medicine teaches that the lungs are affected by unprocessed grief and sadness. Modern somatic psychology now confirms unresolved grief changes breathing patterns, which causes diaphragm tension, which causes shallow breathing, which lowers oxygenation and increases anxiety. Grief literally becomes a respiratory problem and a pattern. 6 is poor rest. The lymphatic system sits right behind the chest wall. Lack of movement or poor posture, dehydration, low lymph flow, leaving toxins in the respiratory tissues longer. This creates chronic congestion, tight chest, increased susceptibility to infections. Number 7, vagus nerve dysfunction. You got to activate that vagus nerve because it controls bronchial dilation and breathing rhythm. Lots of things we can do. Thanks so much for joining me. Hold on, though, because Gabe Doe is coming up next. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Did you know 80% of beef consumed in the U.S. comes from 4 major corporations, much of it being imported or processed with additives? Want real beef from a real farm? Pumpkin Creek Ranch does things the right way. Local, grass-fed, dry-aged beef with no additives, no shortcuts, just honest quality.
Pumpkin Creek Ranch beef is the real deal. I love knowing exactly where my meat comes from. No additives, no nonsense, just honest quality beef.
Best beef I've ever had. You can taste the difference. Rich, tender, and packed with real flavor. Plus, supporting a local ranch makes it even better.
From pasture to plate, they raise their cattle with care so you can get rich, natural flavor that only real ranching can provide. Stock your freezer with premium beef you can trust. Visit pumpkincreekranchco.com or call 970-658-0176.
Welcome back, everybody. As promised, you know him, you love him. Gabe Doe is going to be joining us here in just a second. Gabe Doe is, of course, the co-owner and innovator of Good Brew. So many of you are using the Good Brew. You love it. I talk to people every single day that are having great results with Good Brew. And so I always have a great conversation with Gabe. And I love it because this is just a small American business that's making a big impact in the wellness space. So welcome Gabe Doe to Naturally Inspired Radio. Thanks so much for being here today. It's good to see your face.
It's good to see you too, Tammy. Happy Thanksgiving. I think we haven't spoken since Thanksgiving, I think, and it's great to be on the show.
Yeah. I know a lot of people. So this is the season of eating, Gabe. Right? This is where I got my schedule is full right now because a lot of people having tummy troubles, you know?
Yes, this is the time of year for dealing with digestive health issues, for getting ready for the new year, for those who like to do the New Year's resolution.
Yes.
And for some reason, I don't know why, but I've been having a lot of conversations with people while we're filling these holiday orders and whatnot. But there's been a lot of conversation about the gut and the gut-brain axis lately. I don't know if it's just, I don't know why. I mean, maybe it's just coincidence, but maybe there's something to this time of year also with that.
Yeah, because I think sugar has a big impact, right? Like a lot of people say, oh, this is flu season. It's not flu season. It's sugar season. Okay. Right. It's sugar season. And I think when people are consuming more amounts of sugar, they deal with that brain fog.
Yeah. And the double whammy, more sugar, less sunlight, just off schedules, people traveling, not, following their normal circadian rhythm, a lot of things it is at this time of year. So we need to try and keep the time of year joyful and keep things, in perspective, because we actually are doing a lot of, in our celebrations, we're putting a heavy load on our bodies, our, mind, body, spirit, everything.
It's true. So why don't you talk to me a little bit about the gut mood connection? Because I don't think we haven't talked about that for a while. And I don't think people attribute, if I'm having tummy troubles, right? Maybe I'm constipated or maybe I'm going too much or whatever is happening, right? Or even gas or bloating. You get crabby because maybe you don't feel so good. But there's a little bit more going on, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a whole lot more going on there. And so, basically there's tons of research that connects, mood to gut health, both chronic, issues like depression and those sorts of things, but also day-to-day mood and even moment-to-moment mood. And I think one of the things that you can kind of keep in mind here is that one of the theories for why it swings our mood so much in such a short time frame is that when we're under stress, or and it can be vice versa, like the stress can be the result of your gut and digestion being off, or it could be the other way around. You can have stress, and then that can put an impact on the gut. And the reason there's lots of reasons why there's relationships between these two things, but one of them is because of energy being consumed by the brain and the central nervous system when we're under stress. So if we're stressed out, like let's say in more primitive terms, like we're being attacked by a lion, or in more modern terms, like we have to speak in front of a public audience or something like that, a lot of times we'll have digestive issues in those stressful situations. And the theory there is that we're offloading energy from the gut to the brain. And so the body's telling the gut, shut down, so that the brain will have more energy. But it also works in reverse. If your gut's under stress and you're not producing the right kinds of, short chain fatty acids and the metabolites such as B vitamins, and absorbing the right kind of nutrients from your digestive system, and you put it under a heavy load with sugars, and you're dealing with high blood sugar and that kind of thing. Well, you create the stress in that regard, because now the gut can't provide the energy to the brain. So it's like either way, you're trying to get the right amount of energy needed to run your central nervous system, your brain, your cognitive functions, because that's important to survival, so to speak. And then so either way, when we get both of them, we get stress and gut issues at the same time. Now we're really
yeah. I've been at a few conferences where people are having a bit of gut issues because they have to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's basically what's happening. And the thing with the digestive system, the enteric nervous system, in the part of the gut that's connected to the central nervous system or to the brain through the vagus nerve. But the interesting thing there is a lot of those functions are completely separate from the central nervous system. The central nervous system has no influence on that whatsoever. But then there's places along the digestive system where the job is turned over to the central nervous system. So like at the esophagus, there's some control there between the central nervous system and the esophagus. So and you can kind of know that from your breathing and
sure.
Regurgitation, and swallowing and that sort of thing. I mean, you manage that, with voluntarily. You can decide when you need to swallow or not swallow or whatever.
Yeah.
And so there's a communication going on between the gut and the brain at some level, and then at another level, the gut just takes over, and there's just signaling that goes on we have no control over. And,
right.
And so all these neurotransmitters and things that are serotonin, cortisol levels are controlled by the brain and the gut. So yeah.
Okay, I have a question for you that I had prepared, because I think you'll be the perfect person to answer this. So I think it was yesterday or maybe the day before, I talked about enzymes on my show and how important enzymes are, because there's a lot of these tech bros, that are coming out talking about gene editing and all that stuff. And there's one guy who's really focused on studying enzymes and how the profound impact they have on our body. So what's the difference between a probiotic and an enzyme?
Sure. The enzymes are the incomplete proteins that the body creates and produces to help. We'll do lots of things. We have lots of enzymes, but in the gut primarily, we're talking about enzymes that help digest food. So our body produces enzymes along with the acid that it produces in the stomach, and most of that happens in the small intestine or the stomach. So we produce the enzymes as it relates to the digestive tract in the stomach and in the small intestine. And so really, quite an orchestra between the stomach, the small intestine, and the large intestine, and how things get moved through the digestive system. And that has a lot to do also with serotonin. And so we know if we have a healthy gut microbiome, there's a relationship here to the production of enzymes and that sort of thing. Because when the microbiome affects everything through the digestive system and also throughout the body. But in the large intestine, the job is almost exclusively done by the microbiome. So the large intestine is like a dumb organ, sort of. It's really the main job of the large intestine, as it relates to digestion, is to be a home for our microbiome. It really is. And so if we have dysbiosis, it's the gut doesn't really do much to correct that dysbiosis. It's we have to correct it through the food that we eat, through the lifestyle that we're living, and through probiotics and that sort of thing. And so a lot in the large intestine in terms of producing metabolites and absorbing nutrients and doing the things that in the short chain fatty acids, they're like, right, I talk about them all the time, but they are at the cornerstone of everything, because they're only produced by the microbiome with a little bit from food, and the body produces none of these short chain fatty acids. So the short chain fatty acids provide the energy source for the digestive tract. And if you've got a healthy microbiome, that means you're going to get a much healthier production of enzymes and proper neurotransmitters and serotonin. Everything's going to be functioning properly because the cells are going to have the energy source that they need to function and do these jobs. If you have dysbiosis, the cells aren't going to be happy. The epithelial lining is going to be broken down, and your body's not going to do a good job of producing these enzymes and things. Now, we also get enzymes from the foods that we eat. So that has a lot to do with food preparation. You probably are aware that, you know, we want to cook our foods to a certain point to kill the microbes, but at some point we also denature all the enzymes in the food that we're eating. So a lot of the food we eat come with enzymes that help to digest them, you know. And a lot of times you'll hear with like pet owners or dog owners that a lot of people suggest feeding your dogs a certain amount of raw meat because the meat itself has enzymes, and once that meat is heated, the enzymes denature. And people think of enzymes are basically incomplete proteins that are very dynamic, and so enzymes, once they're heated, usually become connect other proteins together or become a protein, and they're stable at that point.
Right. Why are short chain fatty acids important?
Well, the short chain fatty acids, I mean, the biggest thing is that they're providing an energy source for the cells. They provide a healthy microbiome produces these short chain fatty acids from the microbiome feeding on these soluble fibers like the inulin fiber that we have in Good Brew. And that produces short chain fatty acids, and the short chain fatty acids are providing the energy for the cells. So 70% of the energy provided to the cells in the colon, for example, or if we're not producing enough of those, then the cells start to struggle for energy sources and they start to look for other energy sources. But these short chain fatty acids, they're not just they actually get into the bloodstream and circulate all through the body, providing an energy source for cells throughout the body, including the brain and everything else.
So just a little bit important.
Very important. Yeah. And that was that's what Dr. Judy Mikovits, was talking about at the show. Was I spoke about it a little bit in my talk, and then she recognized that and spoke about it in her talk. And she obviously already had slides prepared for that because it is so important. And the reason I think short chain fatty acids don't get as much, this is just my opinion, but they don't get as much airtime as they should, is because it's hard to make money on them.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be very hard to supplement. You can supplement short chain fatty acids, and you can eat butter and things like that, and you get short chain fatty acids. But to actually supplement the amount that you need, I mean, you'd be chugging, bottles of this stuff, all the time. It's better just to have a healthy microbiome. Produce
exactly
the way it's supposed to be produced. Yeah.
That's an interesting topic you bring up because, I always try to encourage people to support their bodies to complete the function that they actually that they should be completing. Because in the pharma model, they don't tend to get to root cause, and they'll medicate the situation instead of, coax the body into making what it's supposed to make and functioning the way it's supposed to function. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah. And then, I mean, these short chain fatty acids, when we're not producing them and we have dysbiosis, we know 100% that that's related to things like colon cancer and that sort of thing, as well as all these other chronic digestive health issues. And the chronic digestive health issues end up being chronic issues throughout the body because basically the gut stops working the way it's supposed to, and we end up with all sorts of problems with proteins and things getting outside of the toxins getting outside of the digestive system and causing chronic disease and inflammation throughout the body.
Right, and inflammation is a big thing when it comes to the gut, isn't it?
It absolutely is, yeah. And that maybe it's another one that's we can talk about in many different directions. But one of the ones that is kind of real simple is that the protein. So our body is supposed to. We need to break down proteins. We can't just utilize whole protein. So breaking down these proteins into amino acids and peptides is partly the job of the enzymes we were talking about, and largely the job of the microbiome. And of course, the microbiome is supporting a healthy gut that allows us to also produce the enzymes that we need. So it's all connected together. But one of the things that's happening with people who have chronic inflammation are the gut's not functioning properly, and these proteins are going out undigested with the fats that we're eating. So we know the fats, the lipids go out into the lymphatic system, whereas the proteins are supposed to get broken down with other nutrients, go into the blood, absorb into the gut, into the gut lining, into the bloodstream, and go through the liver. But when they go out with the fats into the lymphatic system, our body sees those as foreign invaders and produces antigens against those proteins that haven't been properly digested.
Right. When we come back, I want to ask you why we don't need a prebiotic with Good Brew. Okay, so everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back with Gabe Doe. This is Naturally Inspired Radio. Be back in 1 minute.
Did you know that 70% of your immune system is in your gut? Good Brew is the perfect addition to your daily routine for optimal gut health. Good Brew provides the perfect balance of prebiotic soluble fiber and probiotics, essential for promoting good gut health. It is so easy to use. Call 307-381-1099. That's 307-381-1099. Use Naturally Inspired and get our special offer. Visit goodbrew.com. That's goodbru.com.
Welcome back. We're talking with Gabe Doe today about Good Brew. You can visit goodbrew.com. That's BRU.com. So goodbrew.com. Use promo code Tammy because they're so kind to us. They give us a little discount, and we love our Good Brew. Gabe, welcome back. I want to just tell you first that I was talking to somebody today who is, this is kind of funny, dealing with GERD, right? Dealing with a lot of GERD issues. And her husband uses the Good Brew.
Oh,
and wow. Yeah, the Good Brew's been sitting there on the counter this entire time. And I was like, she goes, because I told her, I said, well, you got to get some Good Brew. Like, this is what you got to do. We're changing her diet. We're working through a whole bunch of things. But anyway, she said, my husband takes this Good Brew. Would that work? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, we have so many people that it helps them with that. It's really amazing, including my business partner. But we hear it all the time. I mean, the product was not invented for that specifically, but it is one of the biggest testimonials we get is that, and one of the reasons is because it works for that apparently by all these testimonials, but it's also because the reason we hear about it is because acid reflux and GERD is so absolutely painful and debilitating to people, so they want to tell you about it, and that's why we hear about it. But we have another program that we do, and both the host of the program and his mother-in-law have both had success with their acid reflux and GERD because of Good Brew. So some people I think would take it, they put it, most everybody puts it in something in the morning or whatever, but some people also will take a spoonful of it without without even putting it in. So I think the Good Brew is doing two things. I think the fiber is doing something immediate or fairly immediate for people, helping with that issue, but then there's also a healing process that's going on. And I can make a connection there because when the military was studying, and they've studied different probiotics, but they've studied Bacillus coagulans for other research. But one of the things they picked up in that, I believe it was a military study, but it could have been somewhere else. But it was definitely a well done study. They showed as it was a side observation that they made, and that was that the H. pylori was being suppressed or displaced, which is a very hard thing to do. It's very hard to get. Once H. pylori takes hold in the stomach, it's very hard to get rid of that. And so they have seen that with Bacillus coagulans, which is the probiotic we use, it starts to displace and outcompete the H. pylori, which is very difficult to do.
Yeah, so I just want to say, listen, there are side effects to antacid medication. And I tell people this all the time because we don't tend to correlate them. Antacid is something that people can just reach for over the counter. So it feels like it's harmless, but it's actually not, because long-term antacid use can significantly lower your vitamin B12. It can lower your iron. It can lower magnesium, calcium, your increased risk to infections when you're on this. There's all kinds of other, even bone loss, right, is an issue. And I'm not even going to mention the class action lawsuit on some of these bigger brands.
Exactly right. I mean,
So,
your stomach is the most acidic thing that you're not going to eat anything that's more acidic than what your stomach's supposed to be. And so the antacids are there just to help reduce the acidity, to reduce the pain. But the pain's coming because you have damage to the gut, to the stomach lining and the esophageal lining. So, basically the acids getting to the raw flesh where there's supposed to be a lining protecting that. And so if you just continue to use antacids or prohibitors, you're not fixing the problem. And by lowering the pH of your stomach while you're trying to digest food, you're not going to digest the food and get the nutrients from the food, which is then going to disrupt the microbiome. It's going to disrupt your enzyme production. It's not a long-term way to solve your problems.
It's cascading in problems too. It's cascading effect.
Exactly. Now, I will say one interesting thing. You've always heard to elevate your bed by 30 degrees or something like that, to help with acid reflux, which is not a bad idea. But in reading about that, there's also apparently another benefit, and elevating your bed is also good for your heart, apparently. So very good for yeah. So I mean, that's not a cure either, but it's definitely not taking antacid, or proton pump inhibitors. So if you in addition to trying something like Good Brew, and you do want to elevate your bed, which is a time-tested way to at least help get some alleviation from it without taking antacids. While
you're working through it for the root cause.
Apparently it's also good for your heart. So
awesome. Well, I want to make sure everybody knows that there's a Christmas special going on right now with Good Brew. You get a free small travel size, which is worth like $24. And when you purchase a large 75 serving, and you get that for $63.99. So you get how many servings is that all together?
That's 90 servings.
90 servings.
And a lot of people just use one scoop. So it's basically about double that if you're one scoop person. And some people use a little more. And I usually use 2 scoops, but they're pretty large scoops. And occasionally I'll add a couple of more scoops if I feel like it during the day. But we have a lot of people. These are even people with digestive issues that it's helping them with that just use 1 scoop a day. So you got to start small, find out where it works for you, and then just keep going with what works for you.
Yeah, I see a lot of two-part systems now when it comes to probiotics, right? There's two, you got to buy 2 things, or it's a system that comes in 2. Why don't we need 2 for Good Brew?
Yeah, with Good Brew, we have the prebiotic fiber included with the probiotic, and the probiotic is a spore-forming probiotic that's natural. Bacillus coagulans are naturally found in the soils, and they're transitory probiotics, and Mother Nature has been really good to us because the colonizing microbes that we inherit from our mothers at birth are very hard to get into the body and through the stomach when we take them in capsule form, and they don't survive very well on the shelf. So these prebiotic fibers, they don't have enough room in a capsule to put a significant amount in. And all the studies and research shows that's called symbiotic, that you get way better benefits from probiotics or fibers if you're taking them together. So the spore-forming probiotics that Mother Nature provided for us, that we would get from the soil and that sort of thing, survive out in nature, in the open, in the sunlight. That's why they can survive through the stomach, and that's why you can use it in coffee. And it gets down and it blooms in the lower intestine, where it does a great job in combination with that prebiotic fiber to support the rest of the gut microbiome. And also keep in mind, a lot of the fibers that they call prebiotic on the market probably aren't even really prebiotics in the terms of how nature meant for them to be. The studies aren't really good on those. And we know that inulin is it's the fiber that's found in fruits, and that really does feed the microbiome the way we want it to feed the microbiome, to produce the short chain fatty acids and all of those sorts of things. So, and it's transitory. So Bacillus coagulans and obviously fiber move through your system. They do a job to support the rest of the microbiome, but then they don't, it's not there. You keep using that to continue you can call it like service your microbiome,
Right. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. In addition to the fact that the Bacillus coagulans in and of themselves have very well studied to help break down proteins, absorb nutrients, boost the immune function and digestive function, in and of itself.
Yeah, I just want to point out too, this is a great time to give the gift of wellness. I talk with everybody, people all day long, Gabe. I do assessments with people. And a lot of times people are like, oh, that's going on my wish list. So don't underestimate giving the gift of wellness to other people. Really don't. And with Good Brew, you can really impact somebody's daily life because they're struggling with gut health. They may, you may see them, taking antacids or taking the PPIs or whatever, or they're maybe complain. There's somebody in your family and they complain all the time. This is a great stocking stuffer, first of all, awesome stocking stuffer. And it only ends up being 71 cents a serving. That's the gift of wellness for 71 cents a serving.
Exactly. And people who really like the product and move up to buying the 3 large pack that we have, I think that's like 60 some cents per serving. And then we also have a 3-pack of the smalls of the small size. So this is the large. This is what you get if you get the Christmas special. That's the large and the free small. This is like 15 servings, 75. But we also have one that's 3 of these, and that's about $1 per serving. If you get the 3, and that's for a stocking stuffer.
That's perfect. Yeah.
And we also have like we call it the New Year special. This is the medium size. We haven't really had that before, and so that's
that's new.
Yes, 30 servings. Was like we were just doing 2 of these, and so you can get 2 of these at a good price also. And like if anybody can. It's just a good deal, but we kind of put it up there as like for a couple, like if you want the New Year's, New Year, New You kind of thing. You get one for each of you and give it a try.
Yeah, and believe me, the gut is the place to start. I pour through these research papers all the time, everybody. I mean, and the gut always comes up. It always comes up. And I think moving forward, we're going to learn even more about it. There's some real happening with gut microbiome and dis-ease, especially we've talked about it, Gabe, about Alzheimer's, dementia, even autism, so it's like, I just wish it was moving a little faster. But the world of wellness doesn't move that fast, does it?
No, it doesn't. And then, it is going to be extremely important if people they can't deny the importance of the gut microbiome anymore. I think Big Pharma just didn't really want to acknowledge it for a long time because it wasn't convenient.
Yeah.
But one of the issues you're going to have a lot to talk about in the future, Tammy, because they are buying up all the probiotic companies now, and now they're doing these genetically modified probiotics and things. So
oh my gosh, we're gonna have to talk about that the next time you're on.
Yeah, so that's gonna be, and also all these antibiotics were a big issue because of it's also depleted the microbiome, but it's also created these resistant bacteria, the MRSAs and things of the world, and now they're thinking they're running out of options with the antibiotics, so it's going to be using microbes to fight microbes. So
Franken microbes.
Yeah. Some of them, I think a lot of them I think there's a lot of very natural probiotics that are effective, but they can't patent those. Say like the probiotic that's in our product is not patented, but there's because it was such an early development in Bacillus coagulans, the strain, there are patents around it, but not patents on it. You can't patent the microbe if it's
because you can't patent anything that naturally occurs, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So some of the patents around this are just the developers that cultured the strain were able to patent things like the use, because they studied it, the use of it in something like a hot beverage and things along those lines. But the strain itself is naturally occurring. But the design, and I don't know how much the big pharma companies are going to. They're already doing it. I don't know how much they're going to want to put effort into the natural ones if they think that they could create a patented one, which then ends up with all kinds of potential issues.
Yeah, they won't. But that's when it's up to us, everybody. It is up to us as the consumer to drive the marketplace. And I think that's the best way, really. It's the best way that the power's in our hands, because if we become educated, and I'm sure you're going to be on this topic, Gabe, in the future, then we know what to buy because we're informed. Everybody visit goodbrew.com/Tammy for a little bit of a discount. Follow Good Brew on Facebook, on Instagram. Where else are you guys?
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram. We don't do it we're going to start doing a better job of our social media. But yeah, Instagram, I think YouTube, we're going to need to start putting up more more shorts on YouTube. We're going to start cutting some of these interviews that we're doing into little smaller pieces and things like that. So yeah, Facebook, Meta, Instagram, and YouTube are the main ones that we're on. We're on X too. We just don't post on it very often.
Well, follow them, everybody. Thanks so much, Gabe, for joining us today on Naturally Inspired Radio. See you later, everybody.
Are you ready to stay informed and inspired 24/7? Tune in to Naturally Inspired Radio anytime, anywhere. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com, or for the best mobile experience, download the Simple Radio app. Search for Naturally Inspired Radio. Save it to your favorites, and click on the graphic to listen instantly. Catch live broadcasts, revisit past shows, dive into long-form podcast conversations, and discover rare, censored presentations by leading health experts. Plus, explore documentaries uncovering the hidden truths of occult and esoteric history. Stay connected, stay inspired. Naturally Inspired Radio is always at your fingertips. Tune in now. For health questions or comments, text Tammy directly at 720-303-8868. naturallyinspiredradio.com.